I've been waiting. Sunshine, why you playing? With my head on the time, you go way out of line.
Okay, so hey, it's your girl Serene. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to update us on the Ahmaud Arbery trial. So the day we left off last Wednesday, which would have been the 17th. So I'm picking up on that Thursday, which is the 18th. Today is actually Monday the 22nd. So I'm going to give you an update from that day. They were off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you're only going to get updated for Thursday the 18th and today the 22nd. So where we left off in court last week was the prosecutors started doing cross-examination of Travis Mcmichael, and she only had like 30 minutes before they went ahead and went home for the day. Before they went home, after the jury had left the courtroom, of course, Attorney Goff steps up to once again acknowledge he filed a motion to ban black preachers from the galley of the court and to stop them from coming in. The other attorneys were also nervous about the fact that that particular day he found out it was a calling for more black preachers to come, which we'll get back to later. So anyway, the judge of course denied it again. I don't understand. Well, I think I do kind of now understand why he keeps doing this, but I'll give you that theory after I'm done with stating the facts of what actually happened in the court. So anywho, moving on. The judge denied that, and they picked up where they left off with the cross-examination with Travis Mcmichael. And basically more things came out that, you know, wasn't in any news report or anything like that. One of them was that he was very active on this Facebook page, more than he actually led on in the beginning of court in his original testimony with his attorney. She asked him if he knew a David. I cannot pronounce the last name, but he said he didn't know who that was. She said, well, you actually respond, you know, have response back and forth with him on Facebook, and he says he doesn't remember that. She said, well, like, would you like me to show you to refresh your memory? And he said, sure. And yeah, the lady was on there discussing how her mom car had gotten broken into, that she left unlocked, and they were discussing that, you know, it's enough, what's going on? We keep having these break-ins. And Travis Mcmichael response to that was, I think he said they're playing with the wrong side coming over here. Either way I go, it was a threat. And no, what he said is they're playing with fire on coming this way. That's what he said. They're playing with fire coming this way. That is what he said. And that says a lot, doesn't it? Next, she pointed out and asked him, did he have an inkling of who he believed stole his gun? And he said no, he did not. So she brought up the fact that is it not true that you thought that you watched one of your neighbor's videos and came up with who you thought was a suspect? And he said, oh yes. But kind of found out this gentleman lived in their little cul-de-sac. I'm gonna keep calling it cul-de-sac because that's what it looked like to me, like a big old cul-de-sac. So anywho, he said, yeah, he lived in their little community, their little cul-de-sac, and that he actually was following him and watching him for a few days, is what he said. I find that disturbing. Then he goes on to discuss she asked him, did he know that Ahmaud Arbery was not the only person going into the home that was under construction that was opened. He claims he did know about the white couple, the teenagers, and all of that. He knew he wasn't the only one. He later found out that things had been stolen from Mr. English through his mother. Mr. English never had a conversation with Travis Mcmichael or Gregory Mcmichael about anything that was going on in his home. The only neighbor he discussed, talked to about what was going on, was Diego. His neighbor, Diego. If I'm not mistaken, his last name Perez. Diego Perez. But so, again, he not even getting none of his information from the person this trespassing is happening to. Never had no communications with him about it. He found out he had something stolen from him from his mother. She also asked him, do he not remember in the video, the police body cam that we all watched in court and clearly heard Officer Rash say, while Travis Mcmichael, Gregory Mcmichael, and like 3 other officers was standing there, when he said, Mr. English stated, nothing was ever stolen. The guy never took nothing. He never destroyed anything. He never touched any of the items in the house. He says, well, I don't think he said he didn't steal anything. I think he said he never caught him stealing anything. She also questioned him about the fact as he went through the story, and she asked him after the 3rd time he said Ahmaud turned around and ran from him. She said, okay, I want you to pause right there. She said, so we now have 3 times you have tried to talk to him, you asked him to stop, and 3 times he has turned around and ran away from you, clearly showing he does not want to talk to you. You already have agreed. You understand that the 5th Amendment states no one is forced to have to talk to no one, not even police officers. He said, yes, he understood that. She said, so why didn't you go home and just let him be? Just let him run on. He said he just had to know what was going on. He just had to know who he was. That's what he said. So he continued to chase him. He even stated that at one point in the middle of the chase, he was actually between his truck and Brian's truck. So he was sandwiched. That's the word she said. So he was sandwiched between your 2 trucks. He said yes. He admitted that. Travis Mcmichael on the stand. She also brings up the fact that they thought the guy that was under the bridge, that him and his father see this guy sitting under the bridge. They decide maybe he's homeless and living under the bridge. And they get out of their truck. They stop on the road, get out of their truck, walk underneath the bridge where this man is fishing. Now, this is a white gentleman that they're questioning now. And they're asking him if he was homeless and lived under the bridge. And he said the man told him he did not. And actually told him where he lived. He said that they had a pleasant conversation. This is Travis Mcmichael's exact words. They had a pleasant conversation. So she said, if that's the case, she said, so you never felt threatened? You never felt? And he said, no. Once I was standing between his machete and him, talking to him, I did not feel there was any threat or any danger. She said, so why did your father still call the police on him when you got back in your car? He called the police immediately upon stepping in the car. And she played the 911 call. And on the 911 call, you hear Gregory Mcmichael call the man a shady-looking character. And that they need to come check him out because he might be behind the thefts of the cars. Now, in between all this questioning, come to find out, not only did they think it was the white man under the bridge that was responsible for it, they thought Mr. Arbery was responsible for it. They thought the white couple that was in the scene in the video was responsible for it. And then he thought it was a man in his neighborhood who was responsible, possibly, who he was stalking, because I don't care what nobody call it, that's what I call it, stalking for 3 to 4 days, watching. So him and his father just running around like little vigilantes thinking they gonna police the neighborhood and put folks in check, right? Because they got guns. Because I feel that's what made them even more feeling powerful enough to do this, because they had guns. So anyway, as they go on with the questioning, she also asked him thoroughly in his questioning as he was retelling the story of what happened. At any time, did Ahmaud ever yell at you? He said no. She said, did he swear at you? She said no. He said no. He never said a word. He offered that whole sentence. She said he never said a word. She said, so he never yelled at you, never swore at you, never said a word to you, not nothing. Just kept turning around and running away from you. He said yes. But you felt threatened by him. She said, what did you feel threatened by? She said, did he raise his arms, or was they still to the side while he's running? He said, no, the arms were still to the side in running motion. He never lifted his arms up or anything. What was you scared of? And this man says he looked him dead in the eye, and he felt that was a sign that he was going to do something to him or his dad. He was scared. His dad was on the back of the truck. He didn't know. He might jump up on the back of the truck with his dad and attack his dad. He didn't know. He just felt when he looked him in his eyes, that meant he was going to attack them. She said, okay, so once again, he ran around the other side of the truck. So why go to the front of the truck? He could not see his hands, he said. He felt he might have been trying to hide something from him, he said. So he had to go around there to make sure, he said. Now, mind you, he also admitted he pointed his gun at Ahmaud, which is why he ran around him. He didn't run straight towards him or past him. He ran around him and his truck, because he's at this point out of his truck pointing his gun at him. His father is in the back of the truck with his .357. He can't turn around and run the other way because Brian is back there blocking his way with his truck. So she got him to admit all of that. She even got him to admit that his role in the Coast Guard wasn't even a high-ranking role at all. After she was done doing her cross-examination of him, the jury stepped out for a break, and the defense attorneys stood up to make a motion to dismiss juror number 12. Apparently, after the cross-examination, his defense attorney cross-examined him to try to rebut the things that the state got out of him, of course. And during this time, I guess jury number 12 was kind of dozing but catching herself, but not looking like she was fighting to stay asleep, but not falling asleep all the way. Either way it go, the judge said he would pay attention from there and see for herself what was going on. So, okay, so the next witness would be a neighbor in the Satilla Shores. I believe she was one that I don't know if she started the community Facebook or if she was the monitor of it, one or the other. I can't remember, I'm sorry. But basically she just testified to most people would just leave their opinions of stuff going on, complaints about different utility issues, if like the lights went out or construction work was being done in the area, just basic neighborhood things. and some neighbors began putting like when incidents would happen to them on there. So that was put on there also, and that was pretty much all she testified. But the state attorney, I can't remember the one, but the the black woman that's with the DA office, she asked her a very bold and wrong question, which was, she asked her, did she believe that someone caught stealing deserved a death penalty? And of course, the whole defense table dang near stood up. Like, huh? Oh, no, wait. They was very upset. So, of course, they asked the jury to step out of the room. After they was done, the judge brought up before anybody could say anything. I was watching juror number 12. She was definitely paying attention at this point. I will have a little talk with them afterwards, and he took it from there. So, of course, they were very mad. He admonished the state for it. Made sure when the jury came back that he told the jury they were to ignore that last statement and not take it in consideration for anything. And they moved on from there. So the next witness was Cindy Clark. Okay, so Cindy Clark joined the... Cindy Clark is the next witness. She is also a neighbor in the Satilla Shores area. She moved in 2004. She said she was aware that it was petty crimes, that's what she called them, petty crimes going on in the neighborhood. She did join the Facebook page, but she's not really sure how she found out about it. She said she called the police herself a few times. One time she called it police because a car broke down in the neighborhood, and instead of the people in the car walking out of the neighborhood, they walked further into the neighborhood. So she called the police and kind of found out that car was stolen. We will later hear on cross-examination, this happened in 2018. The other incident she brung up was that somebody that was taking pictures in the neighborhood that she had never saw before, she called the police on them and tried to give him give that person license plate number. She felt they needed to be checked out, and that happened in like 2017. That came out in cross-examination. She said she had met Mr. Bryant, but she had never met the Mcmichaels. So the next witness will be Brooke Perez. And this is Diego Perez's wife. Basically, he's the one that has some tools. It was 3 tools she named that was stolen out of his truck. Apparently, she saw Facebook on their community Facebook page. She saw a post about someone's car being broken into. So she decided to go check their vehicles, and that's when she discovered her husband was missing some tools. Apparently, it was a problem with the fact that he was locking his doors on his truck, but somehow the truck was unlocking itself. She said they had to pay to get it fixed and everything. Basically, every car that got robbed were not locked. The cars were not locked. They were open. None of the cars was locked. To top it off, the most expensive thing taken out of any of the cars, and it was only 4 incidents in 2019 when this incident happened, the tools was the most expensive things. The other cars, it was CDs, change, stuff like that, which sound like a teenager to me. Grown people don't want your CDs or your change. They want big things that they could possibly sell or something like that if they're going to steal something from you. Even a drug addict, let's say maybe it was a drug addict that wandered in the neighborhood. Even their numbers get no money with no CDs or your change. That's not going to help them get their fix. This sounds like some straight up teenage stuff to me, and this is, but I'm going to continue on before I get to them thoughts. So Brooke Perez, basically, they got security cameras and all of that after that happened with the truck. She's a stay-at-home mom. I believe she said she had 3 daughters. She also became an administrator for the Facebook page on there. And basically she was, in so many words if you ask me, sitting there watching the monitor on her screen and watching everything go on that she possibly can in the neighborhood. And anything she felt suspicious, she was calling the police. If the one neighbor saw someone run across her yard and her screen, so she called she sends her husband out there with his gun. On cross-examination, she said, why would you send your husband out not knowing what he can run into with his gun? And she's just like, well, I just figure, God will be watching over. I'm not sending my husband out to, do you call the police? You're not going out there to risk your life and don't know what you out there risking your life for or what. No. You're going to call the police because that's what they get paid for. That's their job. Period. But anywho, she do remember the day of the incident. Her and her husband was coming home from the church when it happened, and they drove past the house to see why all the cop cars was out there, and she saw Travis Mcmichael standing there bloodied, and her husband told her to back it up and head it back to the house because they had their children with them in the car. They did not want their children seeing that. So they went back to the house, and of course, nosy old wife of his strolled down there to see anyway some more what was going on in the community. The next neighbor, it was another neighbor, Miss Annabelle Beasley. She was the next witness. She been there since 1990 something, so that tells you a lot. She said when she originally moved there, it was mainly a older retirement community, and as the years went on, a lot of them moved out and went on, and a lot of young families and families with children or single younger people without children, it got young. It started getting young in there, and apparently when the young folks came along, this is when the incident started happening. And again, like I said, I believe those little break-ins to those cars after finding out what was actually stolen out of the cars, that was some teenager stuff right there. Some bad teenagers being bad, doing stupid teenage stuff. She basically was stating that it had got to a point where they would not let the kids play outside at night anymore. After her giving the ages of her grandchildren, I didn't feel they should be outside playing at night, but whatever. Everybody different. But yeah, so that was sad. She did admit on cross-examination from the state that they did not have any abuse or violent type crimes that happened in their community at all. She said most of the crimes that she knew about was only like property damage or stolen property type of situations from the cars and stuff. The witness after her is her daughter, which is a Subi Lawrence, who has 2 boys, her grandchildren, that she was saying they didn't want the boys playing outside at night no more. These are the boys, and this is their mother. That's the next witness, Subi Lawrence. And basically, yeah, she said she was on the community Facebook page. She even became an administrator also, but she said, to be honest, she really did not keep up with it on a regular. And I could believe that. She's a single mother. Most single mothers don't have time to just stare at Facebook every day, all day. You don't. Maybe when you get free time or something like that, which is basically what she was saying. Like, the notifications would come up on my screen when someone was commenting, but any one of the administrator can easily click on there to allow the comment on there. But she didn't always, acknowledge them or look at them. And so she got a little teary-eyed when she discussed the fact that they moved there to be in a safe community where her boys can grow up and play, because apparently where they lived before was like a dirt road, so they couldn't really ride their bikes or their skateboards and stuff. So they was really excited to be moving to an area where they had a street to really ride their bikes in and skateboard in and all of that. And she felt bad because it had got to the point where the boys got scared and they themselves did not want to go out at night. She didn't have to really ban them. They just chose not to be out there at night because they were scared of what they could run into. And I blame that on their neighbor, but we'll discuss that in a second because it leads me to this next point. She said she didn't really know things was going on until her neighbor, which was Mrs. Perez, Diego Perez's wife, would call and say, hey, make sure the boys in the house, something might be going on, get in the house, lock the doors and all of that. To me, she was scaring them unnecessarily because she didn't even know what was going on. And then when they kept saying they was trying to find the black boy, they knew the black boy was going in the, on cross-examination, she asked him, did you ever see that black boy on your cameras in your yard? No. But you terrifying this poor woman and her kids. It also came out that Subi Lawrence took a boat ride with the Mcmichaels and the Perez's after the incident. It also came out that it was a discussion she had with Travis Mcmichael. He asked her to help him leak the video. She said it wasn't that he asked her to leak it. He asked her to share it, to get it out there, because they want to get their story out there of what happened. And they had already leaked the video, but no one was really paying attention to it. So he wanted to know if she would share it on like her page and go so forth so other people would see it and share it. I bet you he rethinking that whole thing today. I bet you he want to kick himself for that. Anywho, on cross-examination, the state attorney asked her, why was you willing to help Travis Mcmichael put this video out here? Did you watch the video? She said no. She said, did you know that they chased them before the shooting? She said no, she did not know that. She said at the time she believed what Travis and Gregory Mcmichael told her. That was the story that she believed happened, what they had told her happened. She had never watched the video, and no, she did not know they had chased the young man before killing him. She didn't know any of those things. So after she got off the stand, that was it for Travis Mcmichael defense team. They rested at that point. But attorney Kevin Goff for William Bryan, who never disappoints us, he stands up, he's mad. And he's like, what, in light of what just came out, he does not want his clients connected to this vigilante type of, matter of fact, I think I wrote this words he wrote in there. Hold on. I'm going to tell you exactly what he said. He was basically not okay with the evidence that just came out, that he does not want his client being attached to some dirty, hairy, criminal-minded type of defendants with this vigilante type of looking going on, and he wants to separate his client from them. So after he made that statement, the judge decided to take a 15-minute break. And when they came back from the break, I don't know if they discussed something while they was break or what happened with that. But after that, the judge asked them, was they ready to proceed? They said, yeah. So the defense for Travis Mcmichael rested, and the defense for Gregory Mcmichael rested without bringing nothing up for their client. And then Mr. Kevin Goff for William Bryan, he stood up and rested also. And that was the end of the defense putting on their case. Which I'm like, okay, so let me finish this part. Then I'm going to give you my opinion. So after they rested, the judge then decided that he gave the jury some instruction, told them that they did not have to come back until Monday, which is today, and that he expect we will be hearing closing arguments. They will receive the instructions, and then it will be turned over to them. So after the jury left, that's when they rested for that day. And he told after the jury left, he told the lawyers that they would have the instructions. They was going to go through the counts and instructions, how it's supposed to be worded or whatever. That's what they did Friday without the jury, but their clients was there. So Friday, the judge, the lawyers, state and defense, plus the defendants, they were in court discussing how the wording for each count should be that they're being prosecuted with, so the judge can have the reading of the instructions for the jury. That's what they went through on Friday. So I feel, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm gonna say it. First off, let me start by saying, as far as I'm concerned, all three guilty, period. Hands down, there's no argument about that. However, I do feel that William Bryan had a good case of, he had very bad representation, because I don't understand why he didn't ask to be separated from the start, in the beginning. He should have never went along leaving his clients attached to the Mcmichaels at all. At all. Especially when he had the one thing that could have buried the Mcmichaels, because he was the only one that witnessed the statement of Travis Mcmichael calling Ahmaud Arbery, as he laid on the ground dying, a effing nigger. I don't understand, why didn't he try to make a deal with the prosecution? Now, they claim he tried to do a deal with the prosecution, but they didn't go for it. But at the same time, the state and the defense, they all saying that they didn't try to do a deal, but they saying that they tried to do a deal. But we won't know that until the end of it being over. Anywho, I feel like he should have tried to get a deal from the start and testified against the Mcmichaels for his part of what he saw, and just simply admitted his part, period. Because I think it's very much so true on the fact he couldn't have had no idea they were going to kill the man. However, you are guilty, and it's still disturbing that you chose to jump into a chase not knowing who was right, who was wrong, or what was happening. And you didn't even know these men on top of it. Period. I feel like he had a better chance. The other two, hands down, y'all chased this man down and murdered him. Period. Now, the thing I'm shocked about even more is that Attorney Goff didn't put no character witnesses. He didn't do any type of, I don't understand it. And then you spent majority of the trial making motion after motion after motion against Ahmaud Arbery's family and black preachers. And I'm going to say that to say this. I think he did it on purpose to bring as much sensationalization he could to the trial, trying to get it dismissed, because it was so much sensationalized, television and words, so much around it, and that was his fault. Most people was barely paying attention to the trial until his whole speech about we didn't need no more black preachers in the galley. That just made it very much so a hot topic after that. think he did it on purpose to make it a hot topic, and I think he did it trying to get a mistrial, and he was never able to get it through that aspect. And the state attorney, the prosecutor, smartly brung that up when they were discussing the wording of the charges, when he tried to ask for the motion for this mistrial then, because of the sensationalization around it. And she said, you called them here. You did this with your own words. And he did. He did. He did. He did. He did. I do not, my thing with the Ahmaud Arbery trial and this self-defense thing, these men, literally, we know for a fact, with them admitting, they admitted, they were chasing this man for over 5 minutes with him fleeing, continuously fleeing in the opposite direction from them, surely and plainly showing he wants nothing to do with them. Then you get out of your truck. You have all this ample opportunity and time to go back to your home and leave this man alone and let him go about his business. Instead, you park, get out your truck, and then when he tries to turn around again, another truck's block his exit. So now he's forced to come towards you, and you point a gun at him, and he still weaves around you. Now you run to the front to point your gun at him again. When exactly did he have the right to start defending himself? He's the one that's being chased. He's the one that's being yelled at. He's the one who's doing everything he could to stay away from you and get away from you. And now you're hollering, it's self-defense, it's citizen arrest. Arrest of what? You never had a discussion with the owner of the construction house. You never had a discussion with him at all. Y'all never knew how he felt about what was going on in his construction site at all. Everything was hearsay. Everything came from other neighbors, your mom. Everything came from everyone except the source. Mr. English admitted on the tape of his deposition that he believed his subcontractors were the ones that stole his equipment because they had carriers that was big enough to carry the equipment out of his construction site unseen. Ahmaud Arbery never went in the house with any book bag, fanny pack, nothing. He never had anything on him to carry anything out of there. But yet you insist on believing this man is just doing so wrong. Why? I'll tell you why. Because it's the same old story since the beginning of slavery. Yep, I'm going to go there. You see a black man and he automatically is a criminal. He's automatically criminalized. He's automatically had to be doing something wrong. He's deviant. He's everything but a good man that could be just running and minding his business, period. He's everything but that. It's automatically that way with every last one of them you come across. You would, I mean, it's always been that way. And I see it still that way down there in Georgia, which makes it so sad. So today, Monday, we had the state attorney start their closing statement, and the defense of Travis Mcmichael made their closing statement. Gregory Mcmichael lawyers did their closing statement, and then Attorney Goff did his closing statement for William Bryan. And it's pretty much the same thing. They're stating that they, with Travis McMichael's team, their thing was he grabbed the gun. He had a right to defend himself, basically, even though he done terrorized this man already for 5 minutes. Apparently, he had a right to defend himself, but Ahmaud Arbery didn't, even though he's not the one that started this. You are. Gregory Mcmichael lawyer, she more so, her speech was more so of the neighborly thing. As neighbors, we have to look out for each other. But I don't want my neighbor gunning folks down in the street for me. I don't want you doing that for me. Nope. Because even if you don't want to believe, even if you okay with doing such things, you can't be that way if you believe in God. Because thou shalt not kill is definitely one of the 10 commandments. I don't care what religion you in. Period. Next is Mr. Goff for William Bryan. His whole argument was, hey, whatever you do with the other two, that's the jury. That's the jury. That's your decision. But my client ain't did nothing. As far as he concerned, he may have started out where it looked like he was trying to engage, but more so he was just trying to see what was going on, and then started recording so he could have a record of what's happening. And if we didn't have this record, then we wouldn't have this trial. So therefore, in so many words, his client is a saint and a good boy, because he recorded it and made sure he let the police know. And that was his mission. Get it on video. That's pretty much what you would think he could have came up with something better than that. But then again, it's the same man who be hollered about black preachers all this time. So who knows? Which goes back to my earlier statement that he might have a case to, or get his a new lawyer for appeal or something. Because baby, terrible. So that's what happened today on Monday. So we still have the state who gets to do the rebuttal for all three, because the state always gets the last word. So tomorrow morning we should have the state finishing their closing argument, and then the judge will be giving the juror their instructions, and then the case should be handed over to the jury tomorrow. So that would be Tuesday when that should happen. So that's pretty much an update of what's happening with the Ahmaud Arbery trial at this point. And yeah, I'm ready for this case to definitely be over. And I don't think we're gonna have a not guilty plea case in this one, because yeah, it ain't about, it's clear as day on camera. There ain't no need to blow it up or we can't see or it's blurry. Oh, you see it. You see it for sure. And the client's already admitted to the chase, to chasing them. Even admitted to him running away from them. All of that. Can't be confused on that one. But anywho, if you made it to the end of my video, thank you. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And thank you, and have a wonderful day. Mwah.
I swear I give you my tomorrow. Forever